Hi, welcome. This is an introduction to subject 31281, System Development Project for 2017. The description of the subject you'll find in the subject outline, and it reads, in this subject students learn how to design, develop and evaluate a commercially realistic but manageably small software system meeting predefined functional and non-functional requirements. It is deliberately a very small system because this is not a test of programming. The programming should actually not be that much. This is software development, where there is more than just the programming. You have to coordinate the work, you have to do your version control, you have to do your documentation, testing, design, the whole thing. So this is software development. The project is performed by highly autonomous teams that, while supervised and directed, are ultimately responsible for the project and delivery of the expected outcomes. You get a tutor. One tutor looks after two teams. I found that works reasonably well. That's enough time to provide attention to everybody and provide enough feedback. But largely, it's up to you to do things. They can guide you, but they're not going to tell you what to do. The primary objective is that students experience, understand the importance of, and can apply sound practices of software development from team formation and management, project planning and management, and all the primary processes of software design, construction, evaluation, and delivery. Okay, now there's a little bit later, team formation is probably the most important of those. The subject learning objectives. Every subject has learning objectives. These are the things usually by the time you finish you will. Okay, upon successful completion of this subject, students should be able to investigate and solve software engineering problems with minimal supervision, determine and balance the competing goals of commercially realistic software engineering projects, plan and manage a software development project to completion. That's important, get it finished. Apply sound software engineering practices to design, develop and evaluate software systems. Communicate project and system information to team members and other stakeholders. You must be able to communicate. Collaborate with team members to perform project tasks. Collaboration is an important part of this subject. Now, the subject has been queried for some years about, well, shouldn't this be a capstone subject? And it isn't. When you're developing a subject like this, you can pitch it one of two ways. Either it's an introduction to software development so that you've got some idea of what you're going to come across in the future, or it's something that integrates everything at the end, like a capstone subject. And so this one is pitched at the beginning. So you may not know much about software development, but this will tell you a certain amount about it so that you've got some understanding and some context for things that you'll learn in the future. The teaching strategy. This subject is entirely practice-based. For those of you who might know, it's very close to being a studio subject. It duplicates commercial software development practices, aided and guided by tutors knowledgeable about and experienced in software development. Now, that's pretty important because the tutors that we engage are mostly people from industry or people who have had industry experience with software development. There are one or two PhD students that are engaged as tutors, and they have to demonstrate that they have some knowledge and experience of programming too. You know, we don't take just anybody. Students are guided about what to do, then left to discover and decide the best way to do it in the circumstances. So we might say to you, well, you know, now's appropriate to do a software architecture, and it should do these things. Now, there's several different ways of doing it. You go and figure out which one's the best one and do that. The subject strives to teach sound software engineering practices without becoming unnecessarily formal. There is a certain amount of formality to it because we actually need things that we can look at in order to assess them. We can't assess your hand waving and talking. We actually have to see things. Now, it doesn't have to be printed out in a document. We have assessed Trello boards or Jira boards and I don't know, collaboration sites. It's all part of the assessment. but it has to exist in some, I suppose, trackable form. Now, it is a team project. We've found that a group works well together, it gets better results. Right? And I've seen this time and time again. If you get a well-functioning team, that is a team that sorts out how they're going to work and who's going to do what, and gets on and collaborates and supports each other, you'll actually get a pretty good result. If you split up into a hierarchically organized team relying on the work of a couple of experts, you may well get through, but it's going to be tough work for everyone. You will be randomly assigned to a group of 6, within the nominated time slot, but the group assignment will be random. Now, there are reasons for this. There isn't any perfect way to form and assign groups. We tried different ways. We tried self-selection, we tried by enrollment sequence, we've tried a number of ways, and the random assignment, it works well. It's the best of the best least bad way. All right. Another reason for this is that there is actually a prize attached to this subject, and there was one last year. I'm not sure if it's still on this year. There's certainly a lot of prestige in getting the highest marks, and often it's very difficult to separate out the top few groups to the point we say it's statistical error. But nevertheless, each group has got to have a equally good chance of succeeding. Now, to encourage contribution and to discourage freeloading, each team will get a pool of marks to distribute among the team, and the team can distribute them any way they like. We have obviously some ways that we think work well, and we can advise you on it, but the team itself is responsible for distributing the marks, and the team is at liberty to assign 0 marks to one team member, and this has happened. So you can do that. You can assign equal marks to everybody, or you can bias them, distribute a few marks up and a few marks down, and that's fine, but the team must distribute the marks.